welcome back once again. I pray everybody is doing well. I wanted to come on here real quick and say, hey, wagwan. I wanted to talk about unforgiveness really quickly. I know it's been a minute, but y'all know, bear with me, bear with me. Got a lot of stuff going on. But I wanted to talk about unforgiveness, right? And how it plays out in everyday life. I am artist. What's going on? I said, let me pop on here real quick. I know. Don't know it, go already. Manisha, welcome. This is just a soul therapy session really quickly. Because on other platforms, I was talking about healing, something I've been talking about for the longest time, and all of the different moving parts of healing, right? And how unforgiveness plays into our inability to heal, or not just heal, but heal wholly or comprehensively and effectively. Like, because something could actually cover over a wound, and the actual thing that caused the wound or the trauma is not removed. We see that oftentimes where somebody will say, welcome, Miss Wildberry, wagwan. Long time, bless up yourself. Someone will say, the item or the object is still there, but it's covered over, right? And so as it relates to things that we do to people and things that people do to us, someone may look like, Nicola, welcome. Somebody may look like they're all well and good, but the reason why they are not able to move on, or we're not able to move on, is because we act as if we're healed, but we haven't really healed because we haven't really addressed the core issue. And for some people, like for say it's a splinter. Lee, welcome. Miss you too. Long time. Let's say it's a splinter, right? And when a little bit and get a splinter, and you're ow, ow, ow. And your mother, your father, or your caretaker's like, so stand still, let me get it out. Right? That's the initial pain. That's the initial hurt. That's the initial injury. Whoever it came from, mother, father, sister, brother, cousin, picnic dog, I don't know, whoever it came from, right? But because it's so difficult, Bawana, Wagwan, my YouTube family, because it's so difficult sometimes to address, right? To look at, we tend to pretend as though we don't need to address it and then we'll heal. And we can see this through many of the things we've gone over on this channel, whether it be from the conversation of slavery, whether it be from Bob Marley's things, whether it be from Marcus Garvey's story, whether it be from anybody's story. When we really look at trauma, press the like button, give thanks. When we really look at trauma, and we do so through storytelling on this channel, right? We do so through exploring and going through real life situations and seeing how these things that I'm talking about in theory can affect our reality. And then the issue is when the person who hasn't gone through that process get in front of us, or they get on a platform, or they create music, what we do, knowingly or unknowingly, is that we internalize their trauma. If you listen to a lot of the love songs, somebody had a video the other day that 70s love songs are all toxic. If you listen to some of the love songs, it's really internalized trauma. And we over here singing it. Next thing you know, we acting out these experiences that weren't ours. They have it in movies, and they have it in plays, and they have it in writing, and you see it in all of the arts and the media that we use and that we ingest. And it's just something to be mindful of. For those who have just joined us, welcome to the conversation. Let me know your thoughts on that, on letting go, on forgiveness, and what that actually looks like, right? What that actually looks like. Like for me, when I studied this Bob Marley storyline, what's going on, right? No more. When I studied this Bob Marley storyline, and again, one of the favorite songs when I was little, I didn't know what I was singing. I didn't know I was internalizing his Love Jones for Sydney Breakspear. I didn't know. You understand what I'm saying? But I'm repeating and continuing to rehash in these songs. And in recent times, when I hear the young people that must sing, I'll be like, yo, what song are you singing? And they'd be like, why are you acting like that? I'm like, yo, where did you get that from? Because beyond just the music, beyond just the melody, the lyrics are more dangerous than anything else, because these lyrics are wedding with the music, and you are deeply embedding that in your thoughts and your consciousness. Like, no matter how we try to take it out, a song that we remember from when we are little picnic, if we hear the rhythm, we gonna start moving, we gonna start dancing, right? Even if you try to renew your mind, even if you try to elevate beyond that part, because it's so deeply embedded in your subconscious. And that's the power and danger of music. You understand me? I said that's the power and danger of music. So in this 2025, we already see it started off very interesting. For those who are in California, our thoughts and prayers are with you. Okay? Because 2025 started off quite interesting. Eh? What the? Hey, in this time, we need to stay prayed up and stay protected. You understand me? I say? Because I know Fagwan, as we're reaching, as we reach that 2025, say, yo, Wagwan, what? Wanna say no I reach? Everybody's like, what in the world? You understand? So, yeah, we give thanks for another year of life. We give thanks for the ability to continue to reason, continue to grow, continue to learn. Yeah, I just wanted to come on here really quickly and just kind of share that. You don't know, how's everybody doing? How's your family doing? How is everything going? You know what I mean? Welcome to those who just joined us. That's kind of my thoughts on that. Forgiveness thing. It's letting go. Some people say, what exactly is it? It's letting go. Miss Wilber says that's why Aretha Franklin says she would never sing love songs saying, I want you back. Right, because the thing to me about the love songs too is that's the thing that they're like, oh, you should sing, right? But one of the things that turned me off of the music is that you have to continuously sing the same thing over and over. So we're not only thinking about the artist, but also, or the crowd. Think about the artist who has to continuously rehearse night after night for their daily bread. Okay, songs that keeps them trapped, especially if it's songs. It's bad enough if you wrote the song, but if someone else wrote the song, which is what is the case for many artists, you have to sing and rehearse night after night after night. So say somebody did give a bun in a 1972 and the crowd loved that song there. For years to come and decades to come, you have to continue to rehearse this song over and over and over and over. I didn't like that thought. I did not like that thought. I was like, that doesn't sound too good. You understand what I say? But on the topic of forgiveness, I don't even think I put a title in here. On the topic of forgiveness, it's literally about letting go. But it's also about processing. Artists say if it's a hit, yeah. But we also, there's some artists, if you listen to their interviews, they'll be like, I hate that song. I hated that song. You understand what I'm saying? But yet still, because you have to please the audience, you have to keep doing that thing which you hate. Think about how that makes the person feel. Nicola said, it's amazing how much we didn't know back then. You assume all of the love songs were about their wife. I didn't know about Bob's racket. No, I read stock. It's true. If you listen, there's a girl who does like these little bits on social media about listening to like even 90s songs, right? And you're like, what did they just say? Because we are little picnic. We don't know what they're talking about. We don't know what they're talking about. When you look back in retrospect, were you embodying those lyrics and pronouncing those things into your life by singing them and rehashing them and singing them and rehashing them? Because usually when you go through something, you look for a song to identify with, and then you embody it. You singing it more. You ever saw when the entertainers get tired, what do? They put the mic into the crowd because the crowd is going to recite back to them whatever they have already seeded in their minds. It's a serious thing. So we have to be mindful of for us, it's already in there. But even like I said, for the young youth, I'll be like, what are you listening to? And I'll be like, yo, turn that off. You understand? Because with, like they say, do you know your books like you know these songs? Because quickly, 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 next thing you know, they hear it 2 times and they singing it. They know it. Artist said, "Oh my God, remember this American singer that wrote the song about her abuse? You see that? You see that? Word sound power. And that with the pan. You understand? And people just go around and sing it all day long and I wonder why their life a pop up. So I mean, in these 2025 and beyond, we need to elevate our consciousness. I know is difficult. I know that there's a lot going on right now. Even the thing where they're looking at some of the YouTubers, I've kind of seen them devolve by constantly. I'm not saying it doesn't need coverage, but because it has taken over the airwaves, the things with the bad boy and the this and the that, these people have now made it their life. They have internalized it so much that it's showing on their countenance. Because how could you continue to involve yourself in these things and it not affect you? This is why on this channel, sometimes when it get too deep, you see me step back a little bit. Because even when you turn this thing off, you're still with those thoughts, you're with that information, and you have to process it in a way that it doesn't leak into other aspects of your life. And that's a balance that many people I'm seeing them. It's like the light is like dimming out of their eyes. I'm like, yo, fall back a little bit, bro. Fall back a little bit. Take a minute. But when you intertwine your livelihood with covering and having to be the first to do everything on these social media platforms, like right now, everybody is bugging out over the top. You understand? But the reality is, there are a lot of jobs in real life society that are not being done because everybody wants to run off and be a YouTuber or an influencer. You know what I mean? Nobody in that classroom I teach you picking them. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like a balance, like what's going on here. But let me see here. We need to listen to the lyrics and not follow the beat only. It's true. It's true. Yeah, some of these songs is blocking your blessings. Some of these songs you're singing it into existence. And it's planting seeds of dissent. Not all of them, but a lot of them. Because if you listen to what was the thought behind this, and they'll tell you, and you're like, oh, you know what I mean? But let's see here. But what only strong women? Yeah, the Bob Marley song, and the songs that he was singing, some of them and some of them. You know what I mean? Like I said, when I was younger, and my pops had the record player, and you put on Bob Marley and the Wailers, and you put on Garnet Silk, and you put on all of the artists, and you listen and you sing the song them, and to this day they will transport you back to that time, back to that moment, back to whatever, whenever you first emotionally, because the thing with music, it gives us an emotional response, and then we connect with it through that way, which is very powerful. There's one thing to connect intellectually, it's another thing to connect emotionally, and that's what a lot of us are. We're attached to these songs. We remember where we were, we remember what we had on, we remember what was going on, you know what I mean? And so for the young youths that's coming up, it's especially today, it's important to be very mindful about what we allow into their minds and their consciousness. I saw this classroom of like liquor youth, and as soon as they start singing, what the name of the girl? One Slack Girl. All of the children knew the song. All of the children knew the lyrics. All of the children knew the song, right? But they don't know their schoolwork. So we got to understand that particular principle. But on the tip of forgiveness and letting go, it's a process. And some people don't desire to let go because what they're holding on to has become so much a part of them that it becomes their identity. And if they let go, or if we let go, we have to find out who we truly are without this crutch. You understand? Sometimes we hold on to something and it becomes the crutch. You understand? And the individual won't know who they are without this thing to complain about, without this injury, without this. If it wasn't for you, if you remove that, and now you say the playing field is open, go out there and do what you need to do. Some people like to talk big and bad behind the podium. You understand me? I say, and when you move it, there's only air and opportunity. Then it's like, put it back. I was just talking like that because, you know what I mean? I was behind here. That's just my thoughts on the matter. I just wanted to come in real quick, let y'all know, greetings. Everything is all right on this side. And yeah, Nicola says, I think we're all aware of speaking things into existence, but we need to realize that we can also sing. Yep. Who talking? Yeah, they do. They do. And that was prevalent in a lot of Tupac's lyrics. He was more than aware. He felt it. He said he always spoke about feeling this presence. And he spoke about it often, and he sung about it often, and he manifested. If you look at Biggie Smalls, he actually named his album that he was ready to, like, you're not understanding, and then he actually passes, right? So especially the males, there's a principle within the biblical text that if the man makes a vow, and some people can argue about it here or there, but if the man makes a vow and he's old enough to make this vow because he's a man, then he cannot break it, right? But there are some principles in which if a woman makes a vow in certain conditions, the man, if he decides to disavow her, he has to take on the responsibility or whatever sin is associated with that. So a lot of these males, these young males who are growing up, not really understanding the creative power that is within their mouth and seeing all manner of tomfoolery, okay? All manner of tomfoolery. They learn quickly enough that they're manifesting a lot of their experience because they're careless with their mouth, right? They're careless with their mouth and with their heart. Wildberry, I've been concentrating on that. I've really been meditating on that. You said forgiveness is difficult to achieve without reconciliation, and I've been meditating on that still, And I think it's there is a part that you want reconciliation, right? But in some instances, that doesn't always present itself. That opportunity doesn't always present itself, right? And so on the behalf of the individual, the letting go part is what we more have control over. Like, and for me, when I say letting go, is like, once you examine the lesson or the experience or what you're holding on to, right? And you've made the decision, because it's really about a choice. You, the individual, have made the decision, you know what? I'm going to let this go. It's no longer a crutch. It's no longer something that you're going to need to continue to rely on to justify X, Y, and Z, right? It would be nice. The second part of the conversation, it would be nice if there is some reconciliation. But in some situations, because it's a two-way street, some people don't want to reconcile. And for me, in recent times, it's been difficult for me to accept this latter part right here. You understand? This latter part of making peace with the fact that maybe there will be no reconciliation. You can share more. You're saying it can be achieved individually or with the person. I would like to hear more about that concept in your thought, individually, because a lot of people look for the closure with the person, or with the group, or with the organization, whoever you're trying to reconcile with and make peace with, right? And they don't get that, because sometimes people don't want it. They want to hold on to that peace so that you don't get peace. That's what I think. Sometimes people want to hold on because it's just, I still got something over you. Right? So hopefully this year, looking at what we look at right now, when I see what's happening in California, and I see how the people woke up one day and it was one thing, and by the end of the day, nothing their whole house was gone, their memories were gone, their car burnt up, they have their life, which is give thanks for life, give thanks that they have their life. It puts things into perspective. And I was saying that to some people that I know, that look, for me, when I'm looking at this, because I always try to look at what can I learn from this situation, right? Queenie, what's going on? Blessings, blessings, greetings, greetings. I always trying to see what can I learn from this situation. And when I look at what's going on in California, one lady said she just did her house, she just did the floors, she just got a new blah, 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 and now it's all gone. And Valerie, welcome. I think to say that, what do you have left? Your name and what you did to acquire those things. Because as we see things, material things, they come and go. But who are you at the core? Who are you as the person? Will you be able to rebuild? Do you have faith? Do you trust that, you know what I'm saying, the creator will allow things to come back into fruition for you? There, I don't know if you guys saw it. There was a family who put up a GoFundMe. I reshared it on other social media. And I'm not going to stay long today. I just wanted to heal up everybody. I saw it on other social media. It was an elderly man. He was like 82, 83 years old. And all his life, he has been donating his time, his energy, his resources to building up his community. He was a coach. He owned a shoe store. And he was just the kind of guy who just gave back. And he was 82 years old and he was crying. It went viral. He was crying because he lost everything. And it was a melanated elder too. And essentially, his children started a GoFundMe for their father. And remember what I said, who he was at the core, who he was as a person. When people are looking, when people are not looking, according to the story. And in 72 hours, they had a goal of $250,000. Okay? In 72 hours, he was at $700,000. Because, and I would like to believe, all right? I would like to see the good in humanity. I would like to believe that all the things that he was doing in his life, because he said, listen, all my life I gave to people, and now at this old age, he's in the position that he needs. I would like to believe that every deposit energetically that he made for the good of his community, his family, and people came flooding back to him at the time that he needed it most. He wasn't doing it for clout. He was doing it because that's the type of person that everybody who knows him says he was. And that joint had me like, yo, sometimes we see the wicked and we say, just like they say in the Bible, why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? You see the wicked and you're like, merciful Father, but how long this I go and do you? How long? And sometimes the people who do right grow tired. To say that you don't grow tired and weary, you just see people who are doing wrong on a continuum continue to do wrong. This is the message to say, keep doing right. Keep doing right. Keep doing right. Continue to ask for strength to keep on to do the right thing. Because as we could, at the appointed time, you know what I mean? So when I saw that, it bring tear to my eye because he looked so despondent, like, yo. And by the way, according to the reports, they canceled the insurances like 3 weeks to a month before this all happened. So a lot of the people do not have the money or the capacity to rebuild. And they've lived there for 30, 40, 50, their entire life. And now they have nothing. It's akin to what happened in Louisiana with Katrina, if we remember then. You understand? So there's a lot of stuff going on in the earth just to remind us that, yo, life, to hold on to certain things, it could block our own blessings. It could block our own progress. It could block our own elevation because we are not learning the lesson that we needed to learn from the experience and moving on. We're holding on to it in a way that it defines us in a negative way. You understand me? I say And I know for some things it's because you didn't get justice, or you feel you were robbed, or the scales are not balanced. I get that. I'm not saying I don't get that. I'm saying when things happen, if we make it become who we are and define ourselves, we're gonna limit ourselves. Bless up to everybody who's just joined us. Give thanks, Queenie. I mean, you it's showing you the way they came together in California. The way that the vendors just went into a parking lot and started giving away food because they knew people were hungry, and then donations started flooding in. It restores your hope in humanity, because these news channels, a lot of the way that the humanity is going, especially on social media, you just see negative, and negative goes and negative goes. But when you see the heart of humanity, that they still care, you know what I'm saying? It's like, wow. We needed that. You know what I mean? We needed that's in it. We needed that reminder that, yo, love your neighbor as yourself. You understand me? I said, love your neighbor as yourself, and it has to go beyond just talking. It has to go into real life. Believe that the Creator will be with you through it all. Yeah, there's a lot of people. There was this one guy, I don't know if you guys have been watching that news, but there's this one guy who was sitting there saying his house was the only house on the block that didn't burn down. The only house on the block that did not burn down. Right? And you see the different dispositions, the mental status of the people. Everybody had the same experience, okay? Where it's thousands of people lost their homes in the blink of an eye. But the mentality and the mental disposition, we have to guard our mind, guard your heart, okay? Guard your heart in these streets, because it says that life, it's the wellspring of life. That's where your ability to bounce back or not is coming from. And it's about the thoughts that we're thinking. You know what I mean? What we continue to feed on internally, that's going to determine how we navigate things in life. And you can just see that by the different people they interview. You'll know what they've been meditating on day and night. So that's my thoughts on that. Forgiveness, 2025, a lot is going on. Talk to you, take care of what you could take care of. Take care of yourself. Take care of your mind, your loved ones. You know what I mean? And try to feed them as much on the positive as not to say stick your head in the sand and ignore what's going on out here, but we have to take the time to feed on the positive. That's like saying, yeah, man, all them out here do eat junk food, and then I'm just eating mad junk food. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I'm so concerned that they're eating junk food that I'm not taking care of myself. And that's kind of the if we don't mind shop, as the old people say, if we don't mind shop, that's the wave, right? Like, look what I want you to do, look what I want you to do. It's like, take some time and reflect on yourself and say, okay, what am I doing? Am I taking care of me? Am I doing what I need to do? You know what I mean? Am I where I need to be? Young years, thank you, Boana. We just turned another year last week. You know what I'm saying? Give thanks for the bird strong and thing. You know what I mean? These are the things I try to sit down and really instill in the young ones. The other day, I was at the laundry, and little girl just come. My children say, Mommy, children just come, just walk up to me. Like, children just walk up to me and just don't respect my personal space, just all on me. So I'm just sitting there talking to this little girl. And y'all know the nutrition thing. I did not finish reading the lawsuit because I had a wave of work to do. But she bust over it with a big old Starburst. So I said, what's that you have there? And sometimes it just takes time to talk to the youth then. Not like talk to them, but say, what's that you have there? And she's trying to sign it out. You know what I mean? She's like 7. And I was like, okay, let's sound out together. What's the name of this candy? You know what I mean? That you about to consume copious amounts of. And yeah, man, the children just walk up on me and them just don't care. So I said, let's look at the sugar content. Me, you them did a lot. I was like, let's look look at the sugar content in this thing. You feel me? Because it's that kind of conversation is mindfulness. Sometimes the parents are so busy and consumed with life, because life be lifing, that. And her mother was standing right there. I wasn't being disrespectful. Her mother and her granny was there. And I'm like, yo, this got a lot of sugar in it. Talk to me. What you be doing at home? Do you help to cook? She's like, I'm too young to cook. I'm only 7. I was like, you can wash some vegetables though. Right? Because there's sometimes parents misstep, in my estimation, in that they underestimate the ability of the children. I'm not talking about put all your responsibilities on the children. I'm talking about when they show a vested interest in learning something, don't limit them. I saw these little Chinese youth, 5-year-old, I cut, I will have the wok, I make saute vegetable, I make juice and smoothie, I build wall. Because why? A soap and sewing machine. 5-year-old. Because the adult said, okay, let me show you how to do it safely. Right? Give thanks, everybody. Give thanks. Give thanks. Yeah, the youth them. The youth them always run up on me. Can I hug you? I'm like, okay. But yeah, right? So one of the missteps that we misstep sometime as adults is that I could do it myself, and we snatching the things them from the youth them. And people say, well, how you get your children to do X, Y, and Z? I was like, because when they were younger and they asked me at that time, because in the moment you have to be present. Yeah, I want to get this done. I want to do. But in the moment when they ask you, that means they have an interest. It's difficult to give somebody something that is not interested in it. So when they give their attention to you and they're interested, niece, picnic, cousin, neighbor, and they're interested, what's that you're doing? Can I help? You find a little portion of that thing that they can help with, and let them help. They might go feel good. They might go big up them chests. It's going to build their self-esteem. And the next day, you give them a little small task. What happens sometimes, and I experienced it growing up. No, it's okay. I'll do it. Me not have no time. Come on, tell me where. And then you get a certain age, and then magically you expect that they're going to know how to do this thing. What we do, and now the stress comes because you're making all of these demands as parents to do this thing in a perfect way, but you never allowed them these small baby steps to get to where they feel competent enough to do this thing. It comes with communication as well. What's going on with the child? You sit down and you build trust with the child. You let the child talk, blah, 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 blah. Okay, all right. And then what you do? Sometimes me just start to the picnic and let me say, and then what happened? And let them talk. And then you gently guide them to where in the story you say, okay, at this point, what do you think you could have did better? That's my thoughts sometimes. Because sometimes people are like, can I get some parenting advice? I'm like, man, firstly, cinch your ass. It's the same thing for humans and adults. You know what I mean? But it starts at childhood. And this whole healing conversation is partly because the key opportunities, in my estimation, were missed in childhood. So now the adult has to navigate through this thing and parent the inner child. It's true, Bawana. It's true. You have to treat adults like you do the kids. And I tell you the truth, you know. Tell you the truth, you know. Adults... No. Children, to me just I say to me, my love for no bad do adults. But you see, children, they are, from my experience, more readily willing to learn because they have not already become cemented in what they think they know. Right? So like Frederick Douglass, if I'm not mistaken, it's easier to build up a child than to rebuild an adult. It's true. But now I say it can't happen. What I say is the youth them is more. You can tell there's less facade. There's a lower resistance to learning and growing if you catch them at a certain time, right? Where you can build them up and give them the tools that they need. As opposed to adults, we have to unpack all of the something them, and then how it a go look, and then what the people them are go say, and oh, me no want make it look like some me no know what me I talk about. If I'm in class, I'm the perpetual kid asking questions. Everybody looking at me. I don't care. If I don't know, I don't know. What you mean, teacher? I got a question. Me no business. So that's the part of me that I think a lot of people are like, Amuna, I'm perpetually that in that learning and growing state, and then applying what I know, because I don't know everything. I mean, but adults, yes, Queenie, the adult expecting the child to know everything that you know. And there's no way possible that this little pitney is going to know 40, 50, 60 years of what you know, and they're 5. And that's part, and then we drag them up. I remember one time I was walking with my little daughter years ago, and a lady said, you know, she said, this is when I'm not as cognizant. You know, see your foot longer than the pitney, and the pitney I run for catch up with you. Because, you know, we in a rush. We going here, we going there. But the little pitney foot, it can't catch up with you. You moving too fast. Slow down. And the secret is, I'm not giving a secret that them, I'm going to wind down. There will be less stuff to forgive you for as the parent or the elder, and less stuff that they will be struggling with. Not to say that each individual is not going to have their own perception of whatever it is, because we the people like to drudge up stuff, but it will be lessened by our willingness to allow them to learn in a certain way, and also to help guide them and navigate them through what they need to do. So my new thing is watching court shows with the young one them, so that they can use their critical thinking and discernment. You know what I mean? Based on people, because people is a study unto themselves. We have to learn one another so that we can grow, right? Nicola says, one of my regrets is that I allowed my perfectionism to interfere with allowing my daughter to do things. Yes, I agree. I used to have perfectionists. Well, we kind of still have a little bit of perfectionist thing, but in some areas. So I agree, right? You want it done, and the perfectionist is also something that we developed, we the people, in many cases, from where we're coming from, so that it lessens the amount of critique that we get from our parents, and it increases the ability to possibly get their praise or their accolades. So we strive for this perfection, and then they always say, you have 98%, where is I today? You did clean this, but you never clean under this, all right? So we kind of develop in that way. We don't want to make a mess. Don't make a mess. Make sure you clean up. So if I lick a pitney, I make bread from scratch, right? You them know if I make bread from scratch. Why? Because them see me make bread from scratch. Okay? But when them younger, can I make bread? You're gonna get mess. You're gonna get stuff all over the place. You're gonna get powder. Something I go spill. Da 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 da. Okay. When we're done, clean it up. Right? And that is the letting go. Sometimes perfectionism, as somebody who struggled with it in recent times, right? That is also a letting go. For the self, not for someone outside of you. It's a letting go of the perception that we have to be perfect, because nothing is perfect and nobody is perfect. You understand me? I say, so that is something within us. We say, well, where did this come from? Did I need to be this person? Am I this A-type personality? Why do I always need to be in control? Is it because I don't trust people? Is it because I don't trust myself? There's an opportunity to learn and grow, right? And there's no time like the present. You know what I mean? Sometimes people be like, me don't know if you cook because my parents never teach me. Big old grey back somebody like you. We on social media where everybody's teaching you to cook. You can always learn. It's never too late. You know what I mean? It's never too late. When you grow up, you will find out. Yeah, you have to be present. You have to be present. And that is something that I know it's difficult in this space and time, but even when the parents could be present, they would rather not, because sometimes they themselves are still stuck in what that child needed. As I don't know how I was over here talking about letting go, but nonetheless, they themselves, the parent, if the parent was injured at 14, emotionally, that parent is 14. And if that parent wanted their parents to play video games or take them to an amusement park or buy them clothes or whatever they wanted, they are going to only be able to communicate with that child or meet the needs of that child through their injured child. Exactly, Bowana. You can learn anything you want to learn from YouTube University. There is no excuse. There is no excuse. You can't blame your parents for that one day no more. Right? So, we gotta talk about the parents then. Oh, the way in which the parents connect with the children is where they have been stunted as children, if they're stunted. Now, if the parent is emotionally intelligent and they have grown and they have done the work, then it's easier for that parent to be present because they're not projecting their hurts, their shortcoming on the child. What they're doing is seeing the child for who they are. And that's another issue that sometimes parents have, is that they're not able to see the child individually for who they are. So they project what they think the children should be, and then they cross-reference. Oh, why you don't be like this person? This person does this. Why don't you? Especially if you have many siblings. That's the worst thing you can do. Why are you doing that? If you look and observe the children, each one of them are different. Each one of them have their own personality, and each one of them, like plants or flowers, have their own needs. Some need more attention. Some need more affirmation. Some need more space. If you look at your children and be present in the moment, as opposed to like just randomly I dash out, see food, yeah, see clothes, yeah, do this, that, don't ask me for nothing else, me do everything when me need for that kind of a thing, it causes a soul injury. Because I've seen people grow up, even Judy Mowat, I think I see, I'm just using some of the examples here, says she grew up without the love, without being hugged, without being told she was loved. That affects the soul. There was a documentary done, a number of them, but one particular one is named Water. You see, Boana says, I never hear my mom say I love you. And that's a Caribbean thing that the parents do need to, because verbal affirmation is a part of growing this holistic soul, to say, listen, I love you, right? We want to hear it. We want to feel it. We want to hear it. The words and the actions and the energy, they all have to coincide in a way that we can actually internalize. You know, somebody could say, I love you all day long, and then they abuse you. So now you think love is abuse. Somebody could not say they love you, but show the actions, right? Each one of these without the other is kind of incomplete. And as Boana is saying, a lot of Caribbean parents have an issue with, or not only just Caribbean parents, if you look at a lot of, it's like that shows some type of weakness, right? And it's more of an obligation versus a joy. Like, this is an experience that I'm blessed to have, and I want to be present for it, right? And so when the children grow up, they're shocked and dismayed at, what's that all what me do for you? Me can't believe, and would you imagine, and I know poor me, and so being present, being present, and I think that's an extension of, so when I talk about healing and forgiveness and letting go, it's all together, right? That type of attitude is an extension of, maybe them go dance one night and them did their stone love dance, and them did a drink a Guinness, and next thing you know, then get a one wine and she breathe, and boop, here you are. You understand what I'm saying? Some of that is coming from a bit of either feelings of resentment or feelings of indifference, that they now have this huge responsibility of raising a child, and they weren't prepared. Because you see a difference from people who always wanted to be a parent. They're glad to receive this opportunity to guard and guide this soul through life. But people who, the what you're experiencing sometimes is, if you ask that story about the Guinness baby, a lot of people is one wine, what one dance can do. They was listening to Barris, you feel me? And next thing you know, him talk too sweet thing in our ear, and then boop, see Pitney a come here. Oh gosh. My mother from the States didn't say love you. She demonstrated it. Judy, welcome. Yes, that's what. Oh, not him saying Judy, welcome. Yes, I agree that some people, again, they say they didn't say they love you, and sometimes it's because they didn't hear it themselves, right? That they didn't hear it themselves. And Dr. Joy DeGruy, who she talks about the post-traumatic slave experience, and in my reading of these narratives about the culture of enslavement, one of the things that I found is that a lot of this is an extension. Hold on for me 1 second. A lot of this is an extension of the experience, because at one time, that which you loved so much could be used against you. It is the same thing like with the male and female, the black man and the black woman. If it is known by someone who's looking to gain leverage, even though, how much more leverage do you need in the slave system? But if someone is looking to gain leverage over you, and they see that your heart is connected to this person or this child, they may take that person or that child to control you, the person. So in a lot of instances, it became cultural not to express your love in ways that will essentially put a target on you or put a target on your beloved, right? And so it was a maladaptive self-preservation mechanism to survive, but it came down through the line. And now here we are, never have hearing, I love you. Come to get a hug. Where you want? Come on for me. Da-da-da-da-da. Leave me alone. Da-da-da-da-da. Like, after I've done the simple things, food, clothes, and shelter, get away from me, right? And not realizing that that's why people become vulnerable when they go out in the street and pick the wrong mates, because for the first time, this mate is saying, I love you, baby girl. Next thing you know, baby girl gone with him, because baby girl never yet hear say she love. Now, mean you're good, Next thing you know, the young girl I come tell the young man, I love you. Him a gear everything under the sun because him never hear that yet. That's the danger. You set them up in this particular way to be exploited because they're in the way that they have never received this love, right? So they say your love language is your deficit, essentially. What you didn't receive or what you desired, that now becomes your love language. I mean, that's what they say. I'm just saying. But let me just read this and then I'm going to wind down here. Let me see here. Oh, I didn't even see that. But yes, we could talk about that love language conversation later. But yeah, definitely. Buana say I'm preaching. Yeah, the love languages, I've heard about it, and there is something to it. But as I said, there's also a deficit that we need to explore to see, okay, if I've never heard I love you, how do I feel when someone says that? How do I feel when I have to say it? What are my expectations? Or is it words of apparition? Is words of validation? Is it gifts? Did your loved ones never give you anything? Those are things that individuals have to kind of explore within themselves, right? And then that forgiveness factor comes in, because ultimately we have to forgive the caretaker, the guardian, the parent, the granny, the mama, the papa, whoever, for whatever their shortage was, whatever their shortcoming was. Because the reality is they also have a story. They also have, oh, you're lucky. And if you try to bring it up more times, me never get that either. That's what I'm saying. So they're like, basically, they didn't have it, so therefore they didn't have it to give. And going forward, being more conscious is what I would say, especially with these young ones. We cannot continue to complain about that which we are not willing to fix or contribute towards fixing. Yesterday, I did a nice store, I'm mega wind down. Some people send me extra, but I just saw mistake. I'm leaving up the store, and I see this little youth, about 2-year-old, stand up in the trolley in the shopping cart with him buckle in his mouth. His mother's back is turned because she's at the customer service. And everybody is walking back and forth, back and forth. I'm like, yo, this little boy could pitch out of this car and end up on his head top. So I left my car and went over and tapped and said, hey, sit down. And his mother turned around and I said to her, have him to sit down, because if he doesn't sit down, he will fall out of this cart. She says, thank you. No, it could have gone next way, because in this day and time, parents act as if they everywhere and they don't need nobody for say nothing. And then next thing you know, if you pick me drop and licking head, you're say, oh, Johnny drop and licking head, right? I say that to say, be part of the solution. If we see danger, if we see harm, at least warn. If the person don't want to listen, it's kind of on them, right? If we see a child about to do something or a young adult about to make a mistake or not have all the information, don't pull them aside. See if they're willing to have a conversation. You never know if the information you give can help somebody, save somebody from undue stress, because what we're missing is the community. We're missing the village, right? And it shows. It shows. All right? So that's all I have for today, people. I'm going to wind down, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Like I said, 2025, stay prayed up, peoples. Because 2075 came in hot. You understand me, I say? Yeah, them all I see. Them, I don't know if it's AI or what, but they seeing, what is that, astro junk? I don't know what that is. Claiming it's coming over Turks and Caicos. I don't know if that's AI. Y'all let me know if y'all did the research on that one. But I was like, yo, Regin, what is going on? Okay? What is going on? Somebody needs to send a memo. All right? But with that said, everybody have a blessed day. Until next time. You don't know already? I pray everybody is doing well. We'll talk. Leave your comments in the comment section below. And thanks for rocking with me. All right? Okay. No, say, hold on, let me see now. I just...